Hey Raiders fans, we need to have a serious conversation about what's happening on the field, because honestly, watching the offensive line over the past few weeks has been a painful experience. I've been trying to stay patient, hoping that maybe the issues were just growing pains or temporary setbacks, but it's hard to ignore at this point. The line is struggling in ways that are historically bad. The running game, which should be a cornerstone of our offense, is barely producing anything, and the protection for the quarterback has been downright embarrassing. Every time the ball is snapped, it feels like we're just waiting for pressure to come in or a sack to hit. And that's not hyperbole. The Raiders allowed nearly 30 pressures in the last game, with unblocked defenders getting to the quarterback over and over again. It's becoming increasingly clear that this isn't just bad luck. This is a structural problem. The way the offensive line is coached, the decisions being made, and the lack of cohesion among players are all contributing to this mess. And the most frustrating part is that this is not a new issue. It's been building over time. When you draft a running back at 6 overall, you expect to be able to establish a consistent running game. But the reality we're seeing is miles away from that expectation. Every rush feels like a guessing game. Every gap seems poorly coordinated, and the result is a running attack that's barely scraping by at just over 3 yards per carry. That's almost last in the league. And it's not an exaggeration to say that the way the offensive line is performing is historically bad for this franchise. We're not just talking about losing games, we're talking about a level of dysfunction that could set records for the wrong reasons. The thing that makes it worse is that this goes beyond statistics. It's a visible lack of communication and preparation. You can see it on every play. The alignment is off, assignments are missed, and the timing between the linemen is completely broken. It's like watching a team that hasn't practiced together, which is absurd at this level. And it's not just the younger or less experienced players. The veterans aren't performing up to standard either. The coaching staff's decisions seem completely disconnected from the realities on the field. The right personnel aren't being utilized properly. The talent that could make a difference is left on the bench, and the players who are struggling continue to see the field without adjustments being made. It raises serious questions about whether the staff even knows the players they have. There's a sense that the wrong guys are in the right positions and the right guys are being overlooked, and the result is a team that's underperforming across the board. When you watch the games, it becomes impossible to ignore. The interior line is being overpowered on nearly every snap, and the gaps that are supposed to open for running backs are just not there. The same plays are being run over and over without variation, without adapting to what the defense is giving, and it's causing a predictable, ineffective offense. On top of that, the quarterback is under constant duress. You got a signal caller who's being hit on nearly every play, and the result is sacks, hurried throws, and a lack of confidence in the pocket. And this isn't just an isolated game. This is the pattern we've seen across the first 3 weeks. Historically, the number of sacks allowed is already on pace to set franchise records for all the wrong reasons, and it's a problem that traces directly back to the coaching of the line. The decisions on who is starting, where players are positioned, and how they're prepared seem completely misaligned with what's actually happening on the field. There's a disconnect that you can see with your own eyes, and it's hard to make excuses for it. The frustration goes beyond numbers. There's a clear issue with how talent is being developed and utilized. Some of the younger offensive linemen, who were drafted to eventually strengthen the unit, aren't even being given the opportunity to contribute. Meanwhile, other players are regressing instead of improving, which is a huge red flag. When you draft players with high expectations, the coaching staff has a responsibility to get the most out of them. If the staff isn't capable of improving the performance of these players and maximizing their potential, it becomes a long-term problem, not just a short-term disappointment. And unfortunately, that seems to be exactly what we're seeing. Some of the veterans who had shown promise in prior seasons are playing worse than ever, and the rookies are not being integrated effectively. This combination of regression and stagnation makes it incredibly difficult for the offense to gain any rhythm or confidence, and it's demoralizing to watch game after game. On top of all of this, the communication between coaches and players looks chaotic. The way the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach are interacting, or rather, failing to interact, on game day is visible. There are moments where it seems like the coordinator is calling plays without fully understanding the readiness or positioning of the players on the line. The line coach, meanwhile, is unable to adjust and compensate for weaknesses or mismatches. The result is an offense that is consistently out of sync, a quarterback who is under relentless pressure in a running game that is almost non-existent. The idea that this could be turned around without significant changes is difficult to imagine. You start to wonder if the staff even knows the strengths and weaknesses of their own players, or if personal biases and favoritism are impacting decisions more than actual performance. And that brings us to one of the most frustrating aspects of all this, the sense that the coaching staff is making decisions based on factors other than merit. There's a perception that certain players are being favored while others, who could clearly improve the team, are being sidelined. It creates a situation that feels almost like high school drama, where personal relationships and preferences outweigh logic and performance. For a team trying to compete at the highest level, that's unacceptable. Every snap, every play, every moment matters. And if the people responsible for preparing the players are not acting in the team's best interest, it's going to show on the field. And it has. The offensive line struggles are not subtle. They are glaring, consistent, and damaging to the entire team's ability to succeed. It's not just a numbers problem, it's a leadership problem. The way the offensive line is coached is critical, not only for the running game, but for the entire offense. A quarterback needs time to make reads. Running backs need lanes to gain yardage, and the entire offense needs cohesion to be effective. When the line fails, the offense fails, and the players on the field lose confidence. We're already seeing the impact of this on the Raiders' performance. The mistakes are magnified, the execution falters, and the team struggles to find any rhythm. And all traces back to preparation, coaching, and decision-making. If you're a Raiders fan, it's painful to watch because you know the talent is there. The roster has players capable of executing, capable of stepping up and making plays. But the system, the coaching, and the deployment of talent are not allowing it to happen. The quarterback is pressured, running backs are stopped for minimal gains, and receivers don't get the protection they need. It's a cascading effect, and the root cause seems to be clear. The offensive line coaching and the decisions around it are failing the team. Players are being put in positions that limit their effectiveness. Adjustments are not being made in real time, and the performance continues to decline instead of improving. And while patience is important in football, there comes a point where the results on the field are too obvious to ignore. The Raiders' offensive line is underperforming in nearly every measurable and observable way. The production in the run game is historically poor, the pass protection is collapsing under pressure, and the players are not being utilized to maximize their strengths. If this continues, the team's ability to compete and win games will be severely compromised. The issue is clear, the evidence is overwhelming, and the frustration from fans is completely justified. The coaching staff needs to make adjustments, or the performance will continue to spiral. Every week, it becomes more evident that change is necessary, and the clock is ticking for this unit to get it right. Now, picking up from where we left off, let's talk about the quarterback situation, because it's impossible to separate the offensive line's failures from what we're seeing from the signal caller. When your protection collapses consistently, the quarterback's performance suffers regardless of talent. And that's exactly what's happening with Geno Smith. He's been under constant pressure, forced to make decisions in split seconds, and the result is mistakes, hurried throws, and lost yardage. Watching the game, you can almost predict the moment a defender is going to get through, and it's not even because the quarterback is slow or indecisive. It's because the wall in front of him doesn't exist. He doesn't have the pocket, he doesn't have time, and it puts him in impossible positions week after week. That pressure leads to sacks, but also leads to hesitations in the run game. Running backs are hitting gaps that look like they should be there, only to find no space, defenders already in the backfield, and the entire play breaking down before it even begins. It's hard to overstate how much a poor offensive line affects every single aspect of an offense, and the Raiders are a perfect case study of this in action. Now, if we focus on the running game, it's been nothing short of a disaster. The team is averaging just over 3 yards per carry, which is not just below average, it's near the very bottom of the league. And it's not because the running backs aren't talented. They're capable players who have shown flashes of brilliance, but they're being set up to fail. The offensive line isn't opening lanes, assignments are missed, and the running game lacks creativity. The same plays are run over and over, predictable to every defense, and as a result, the ball carrier is stopped almost before he can accelerate. That's not talent, that's coaching. A running back's success is directly tied to the line in front of him. If the blocking is poor, the back cannot create yardage on his own, no matter how skilled he is. And what's infuriating is seeing talented players being limited by poor decisions and mismanagement. The coaching staff needs to adapt, adjust, and find a way to make the line function, because as it stands, every attempt to establish a consistent rushing attack is failing. It's also becoming painfully obvious that player evaluation and utilization are serious problems. Some of the offensive linemen who were drafted specifically to strengthen this unit are not even seeing the field. Rookies are healthy and available, yet the lineup favors players who are struggling, while the ones capable of performing at a high level are benched or misused. That kind of decision-making isn't just frustrating, it's harmful to the team's development and future success. Players regress, confidence erodes, and the offense as a whole suffers. You can see it in the numbers, but you can also see it in the way players move, react, and respond on the field. There's hesitation, miscommunication, and a lack of cohesion that only grows with each play. When the young players aren't being given opportunities to step in and improve, the team's depth suffers and long-term growth is stalled. And it's not just the players, it's the coaching communication. Watching the interactions between the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator is almost surreal. Plays are called without consideration for who is actually prepared or best suited to execute them, and adjustments in real time are either slow or non-existent. You can see it on every snap. The line is unorganized, the protection schemes break down, and the running game is completely predictable. In situations where quick decisions and adaptability are essential, the staff appears disconnected, and it shows in every failure on the field. The lack of communication between coaching positions is crippling the offense, and it's something that has to be addressed immediately if the Raiders want to be competitive. What's even more concerning is the apparent favoritism in player deployment. You have certain individuals who are clearly more capable than the ones being chosen to start, yet they remain on the sidelines. It looks like personal relationships or loyalty are driving decisions rather than performance, which is alarming at the professional level. Football is a meritocracy, and every play counts. When the best players aren't on the field because of personal bias or misjudgment, the team is handicapped before the ball is even snapped. That's the situation we're seeing right now. The wrong players are being prioritized, and the result is predictably poor outcomes. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be the most sensational move of the NFL offseason, whispers are growing louder around the league. Justin Jefferson, the dazzling wide receiver whose hands seem magnetically drawn to the football, is reportedly on the verge of a blockbuster deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. Sources, speaking on condition of anonymity, hint at a multi-million-dollar agreement that would instantly transform the Raiders' offense and send shockwaves through the NFL. The chatter started quietly, but social media has since exploded with speculation. Jefferson, who has become a household name thanks to his jaw-dropping catches and game-changing speed, has long been linked to teams hungry for a true superstar. Yet few could have imagined that Sin City, long criticized for underwhelming offseason moves, might be the stage for his next act. Rumors suggest that the contract is not only lucrative but structured to reward Jefferson's elite production, making him one of the highest-paid wideouts in the league. Inside the Raiders organization, excitement is reportedly palpable. Sources claim that key front office figures are already envisioning Jefferson as the centerpiece of a high-octane passing game, pairing him with the team's dynamic quarterback to create a nightmare matchup for any defensive coordinator. Fans are buzzing with anticipation, imagining a stadium electrified by his highlight reel plays, while opponents are reportedly scrambling to adjust their strategies. Of course, with any rumor this big, caution is advised. While insiders hint that the deal is all but done, official confirmation remains elusive, fueling endless debate across sports talk shows, podcasts, and social media threads. The idea of Jefferson in silver and black, however, is tantalizing enough to dominate off-season conversation for weeks, if not months. If this rumor bears out, the Raiders may have just pulled off the kind of seismic move that can redefine a franchise. Justin Jefferson, the player who seems to elevate every team he touches, could be the missing spark in Las Vegas' quest for NFL supremacy. Until the ink is dry and the press conference rolls, fans and analysts alike will remain glued to every whisper, every tweet, and every insider tip, waiting to see if this dream scenario is about to become reality. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.